Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. It's time to look at the best bets for week 2, lick our wounds from week 1, as always. And if you listen to Uncle Joe, he told you to take it slow in week 1. And hopefully you listen, because there's a lot of football left. Andrew Erickson, I know it was a rough start for you, but there's a lot of football left. That is the solace that I'm trying to give you as we enter week 2, because week 1 tends to be a bit of an illusion most of the time.
Yeah, you think that as the Undertaker, I would have made a ton of money this past weekend because all the unders were hitting at an unreal rate. I mean, before the Ravens-Bills Sunday night game, there was only one game that went over the total. And of course, it was my best bet last week for going under on the Steelers and Jets. So that kind of summarizes my week in terms of the best bets, 1 and 4. I did get one under from the Texans and Rams, but I mean, you could have just blindly bet all the unders and you would have made way more money than taking my recommendation. So looking to bounce back here in week 2, and I'm looking at some of these overs, maybe to also bite back after the unders dominated in week 1.
Well, those Panthers, man, every time you love them, they don't love you back. And every time you just push them to the side, then that's when they perform. It's unbelievable. Now, Terrell Furman Jr., you had a much better start to the year, 3-2 last week. So that is very good. Also, I just got to ask you, I know I didn't get my upset special, the Seahawks. It did get real dark out, though. It got real close at the end before Darnold unfortunately fumbled that football.
As he would.
As he would, fair enough. But have you come to my side yet about the whole, the Bears situation, too, with Caleb Williams? We had a heated debate last week on the show about that. And I continue to say the same thing. The reason why he runs around as much as he does is not because he's so athletic and making great plays all the time. It's because he has no choice, because he can't make his progressions. He doesn't see the defense as well, and he misses open guys constantly. Did you see enough that you could finally come over and hang out with me on the bench and we could talk about why Caleb Williams isn't going to work in the NFL?
No, actually, if we look at that game, I was actually right for 75% of that game, and you were wrong you were only right for 25%. But
now,
your 25%, your 25% is the one that mattered most. Is the one that mattered most, and so kudos to you. Very kudos to you.
Notice I didn't say that I was 75% right about the Seahawks. I wasn't. It's right or wrong. It's black or white here. This is it, unfortunately. And those are the standards we've set. But you are right. J.J. McCarthy did certainly sleep through first half of that game, but he came through at the end. So that's all that matters. So we're going to come through for everybody here, too. So again, download the Betting Pros app. Make sure you subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. And let's get after this week's picks. Terrell, let's start with you. And let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, because you've got some feelings about them going into the second week of the NFL season.
Yes, I do. As somebody who's really never that high on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I mean, there's some things that are true in the NFL. Like, there's some things that you should just never go against. Death taxes, Matthew Stafford interception. I mean, so I really, really hate that I'm about to do this, but I like the Jags +3 here. Like, I really do. You look at the Bengals, and they start the year off horrible. It's not just weeks 1. It's weeks 1 and 2 that they really start off bad. You look at this offensive line, and they were absolutely abysmal against the Cleveland Browns last week. They lost their right guard out for a number of weeks, in fact. So they're bringing in another right guard. He struggled in the run game. They were 31st in PFS pass block grade as well. So they really weren't defending Joe Burrow, and that's why they couldn't get the ball to Jamar Chase or any of those weapons on the outside. They couldn't get the run game going. Whereas, don't look, and I know it's the Carolina Panthers and they had a random hour delay in that game, but Travis Etienne looked really, really good in that run game. I think it's going to be really interesting to see that aspect and him in the pass game going up against the linebackers for this Cincinnati Bengals defense. And then, again, I'm just really not concerned about the offense of the Bengals right now. So for me, is Goldilocks competent? If Goldilocks can be competent, I think that this is a actually really solid Jags team that has a straight defense that can get after you, and then also the offense doesn't look horrible. So I like the Jags plus the points here. I'm going to just rinse and repeat fading the Bengals in the beginning of the season. They snuck out a win in the first game. Maybe they don't sneak out a win here. I think the Jags might be competent enough to steal an outright win. So I love plus 3.5, and I'll sprinkle on the money line.
Yeah, if anything, I like the over in that one, particularly myself. But one of the funniest memes I saw was a picture of your friend Goldilocks, Trevor Lawrence, with his daughter, and said, "Oh, look, Trevor Lawrence with his daughter pregame," and somebody wrote underneath, Oh, what a wonderful name. Pregame. How hilarious. All right, let's get to Andrew Erickson's first bet of week 2. Andrew, let's shake off the dust and let's talk about the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. The Niners without Brock Purdy, not just this week, but now looks like 2 to 5 weeks with turf toe on top of the shoulder issue, on top of no George Kittle. My goodness, they're falling apart here. It's like the end of Infinity War right here in week 2.
Well, we know what deal Kyle Shanahan made to keep Christian McCaffrey on the field was sacrifice all the other offensive players so that he could have a healthy CMC. So I think that this matchup, again, going on the road for the 49ers, I think that when we take a step back, we think, okay, Mac Jones, he can operate the system, then he'll be fine. But this system is not operating at 100%. We already talked about they're not just missing Brock Purdy, they're missing George Kittle. Juwan Jennings is also banged up. This offensive line, that's why Brock Purdy's injured right now, is because the offensive line didn't play well in week 1. Purdy was getting hit and getting pressured. So Trent Williams is looking more like a 37-year-old left tackle, not necessarily the all-pro Hall of Famer that he's been throughout his career. So I have major concerns about the 49ers offense just going on the road, playing against Brandon Staley. Okay, this guy is familiar with Kyle Shanahan. These guys have met up at multiple stints and multiple, when Staley's operated as a defensive coordinator or head coach the last couple seasons. They've matched up 3 different times every single game. It's been Shanahan versus Staley. It has been under. Like all the game totals have gone under the total. So given the trends, I think that I like the under here. Again, Spencer Rattler showed some, I would say, moxie in week 1 where he was dropping back to throw a lot. Kellen Moore's offense, I think, was inspiring in terms of, okay, there's going to be volume here, maybe for some fantasy goodness, but Robert Saleh is going to put this guy through a blender. Like Nick Bosa was talking about how, oh my God, I did not realize how great having Robert Saleh is, having him back with in our defensive meetings, because he makes such a significant difference. And the 49ers are going to have to lean more on their defense because they don't have Brock Purdy and they're missing offensive weapons. So I really like the under here at 40.5. I think it's way too high for a game that, to me, screams more like a 17-10 type of matchup.
Robert Saleh's a good football man.
I feel like
he got a raw deal with the Jets. Go ahead.
I feel like in my clause as a defensive or offensive coordinator or coordinator of any statute, if it doesn't work out when I inevitably get a head coaching job, say that you're bringing me back as a coordinator. Like, tell me I still have a job, because the move to bring Robert Saleh back after being a head coach and saying, wait, no, you were really good as a D coordinator for us. Just because it didn't work over there, we're going to bring you back to do that. Very, very interested in getting a clause like that into my next coordinator package.
Okay, well, we'll see if your agent can get that done for you. The Buffalo Bills had a dramatic comeback against the Ravens. Now they travel to New York, well, New Jersey, really, from the upstate down to the Garden State, really, to the New York Jets. Again, I recognize they're all in the same state, but isn't it funny that, you know, the one New York team is actually the Buffalo Bills? Just saying. We have the Jets with 6.5 points here. Is that too many, Terrell?
Yeah, I think it is too many. I like the Jets plus the points here. And you look at this, you got a couple of things going for you. One, since 2003, in week 4 or earlier, favorites looking ahead to Thursday night football are 18-39-1. That's 18-39-1. Favorites looking ahead to Thursday night. You got a short week. You're preparing for 2 teams essentially in 1 week's time. And so it's a little bit of split preparation there. And the Bills' offensive line, for an offensive line that was so good last year, they gave up a lot of pressure. Like a lot of pressure to that Ravens front, especially along the right side of that line. I think the run defense was just as bad as it could possibly be. I understand that you got Derrick Henry on that side of the ball, and that's fine and dandy, and I get it. Derrick Henry, Hall of Famer, all of that. But this was one of the worst, if not the worst worse than the Panthers. How do you have a worse run defense than the Panthers here? I mean, so with that, Breece Hall and Justin Fields both got the churning against the Steelers there. I think that this is going to be a spot where they couldn't really get any like type of pressure on Lamar Jackson because of the fact of how mobile he is. I think the mobile quarterbacks are going to give them some issues, and Justin Fields can go out there and put a lot more up on the stat sheet on the ground than he did in week 1. So I think they're just going to have a lot of issues on the ground here. That opened up the pass game and Garrett Wilson a couple of plays, but I think that this is going to be a hard-nosed football game with a lot of running, primarily on both sides of the ball, eating up a bunch of clock. And this game is going to stay close. And I don't trust this Bills defense after seeing what I saw Sunday night, especially after they dumped the Gatorade after getting what was a completely improbable win at that point in time. So, yeah, I'm over the Jets here, plus 6.5 in a division game.
All right, let's talk about the New England Patriots Miami Dolphins game. This was supposed to be easy part of the Dolphins schedule, right? Open up against the Indianapolis Colts, play the Patriots. Because if you look at the Dolphins schedule after this, they play Buffalo. Then a couple weeks later, they have a string of games where they play the Chargers, the Falcons, the Ravens, and the Bills again. Oh, and then the Commanders before the bye in week 12. So this is a very important game for the Dolphins to get back on track. Can they do it against the New England Patriots, Andrew Erickson?
No, because as bad as the Patriots looked at times in week 1, again, under wet conditions, and they did actually have the lead entering the second half, the Dolphins played significantly worse. So, yes, I understand why the Dolphins are favored at home. They usually play better at home, especially in September. But I just think that the vibes around the Dolphins right now are terrible. I think that you're going to see things start to unravel, and they could even unravel mid-game. We were seeing it with Tyreek Hill, like already things on the sideline. So they're dealing with more injuries on the offensive line. I think that the Patriots, even though they did lose, there were moments in bright spots in that loss. Harold Landry looked really good coming back as a pass rusher. I think that's going to have an impact. And if I'm betting on one of these coaches to kind of right the ship between Mike McDaniel and Mike Vrabel, I'm going to bet on Mike Vrabel, especially when he's in this underdog environment where this is where he thrives. In a similar way to Mike Tomlin. Like when Mike Tomlin's an underdog, you want to bet on that team and that coach. Same thing with Mike Vrabel. So it's why last week we didn't come on here, or at least I didn't, saying that the Patriots were one of my best bets. That obviously wouldn't end up being the right case because they ended up losing the game outright. But I feel better about them in this particular matchup here on the road against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, yes, in the aggregate have been better at home, but recently it really hasn't been where they have succeeded. If you look at them in the last 9 home games, they're 3-5 against the spread at home. So 2-5 against the spread as a home favorite. So I think that the Patriots can take advantage here. I think they can score on this Miami Dolphins defense. So I like the Pats.
All right, we've got one of the biggest spreads of the week we're going to talk about next. Before we do, shout out to our sponsor of the show, and it's Hard Rock Bet, because Hard Rock Bet is the place to place all of your bets. It is now the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida. It's also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states launching all the time. And you understand, you know the quality of Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and it's like having that right in the palm of your hand. So you can also bet at the casino, by the way, in New Jersey, because New Jersey's cool like that. Hard Rock Bet's online casino is available there. And as we are in the thick of NFL season, sign up right now for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. So head over to Hard Rock Bet right now, sign up, make your first deposit today, and enjoy your winnings. Okay, let's get to the Browns and the Ravens. Now, last year, the Ravens started out 0-2, and everybody forgot that, I think. Last year, they had a tough week 1 loss, went home, and it was supposed to be a smash against the Raiders, and it was not. The Raiders ended up beating them outright. So this is an 11.5 you're getting at most books over on BettingPros for this game. Terrell, is that too many points? That's the question.
Oh, yeah, it is too many points. And in fact, speaking of Hard Rock Bet, if you go over to Hard Rock Bet, you can get 12. So that's what I got. Give me the Browns plus 12 here to be able to get it done. Somehow, some way, this is Joe Flacco's first start back at the bank. I mean, this craziness that it's been that long since we've seen Joe Flacco on the Ravens, and we're just now getting this revenge game in the stadium. Doesn't have to do with the handicap, but I just wanted to point that out. You go and you look at divisional opponents. Since 2003, double-digit favorites in the division are 45% ATS. Bad spot here for the Ravens. And I'm really just kind of fading the Ravens defensively and what I saw in that game. Like in the Ravens side of the ball, it didn't make me feel good how they were in coverage at times. You got Jared Jeudy already going out here speaking on the Ravens secondary, and so they're feeling confident. I think Fannin Jr. was really, really good, and he's going to add another dynamic piece of that offense because now they don't have to go to a bunch of 3 wide receiver sets. They can go run a bunch of 2 tight ends, 12 personnel sets. And then you go out there, you see Njoku, and you see Fannin, and that's something where you really, really attack the Ravens defense. You challenge those linebackers. You challenge them against with the tight end. You challenge them in the passing game with the running back. And guess who they've got? Dylan Sampson, who also, I would like to add, has a birthday on Sunday. Everything just keeps pointing me back to the Browns here. So I'm going to go with the Browns plus 12.
All right. I'm with you, Terrell. Just for the record, let the record show I am there. And of course, Hard Rock, you getting your best line there with the 12. I would take that in division game. And it's also probably the last time Joe Flacco will play in Baltimore. Just saying, it's probably very likely. Although you never know with Joe Flacco. You never know. Erickson, what's your take on this game? Are we going to hold hands, all three of us, on it?
Yes, we are all hand-holding on the Browns because it's too many points. It's too many points for a divisional matchup. And as I write the BettingPros primer every week, for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. I can't even exactly remember. But the thing with the Ravens that's a constant is they play to their level of competition. So last week against Buffalo, it was MVP performances all around except for the fumble, right? And they should have won that game had it not been for that turnover. But when you have the opportunity to play a lesser opponent, well, sometimes the Ravens come out flat. And I don't expect them to cover the 12, 11 half-point spread, wherever the number you get, whatever best number you get. Obviously, use the BettingPros app to find the best number. So for me, I also agree. And also Dylan Sampson turning 21 years old on Sunday. So this is just not any birthday, but a 21-year-old rookie running back who will be in the backfield with his 40-year-old quarterback.
And he played well, too. I mean, just want to say, he looked good out of the backfield, catching passes, too. I mean, he looked sharp. Fannin looked good.
I mean, the leader in the NFL right now is with 10 receptions. Dylan Sampson has 8.
Yeah.
He's a rookie
and my
running
boy,
back.
Cedric Tillman, getting it done.
I'm starting him this weekend.
Me too. Let me tell you, man. I mean, Joe Flacco's going to have to throw that football down the field.
Started him last weekend.
The Ravens are going to put up points, I do believe. But I think the Browns, 12, I agree, is too much. All right. Remember, if you can't get enough football, go join our Discord. FantasyPros.com is got Discord, and so does BettingPros. So BettingPros.com/chat. That's where you go to join our Discord, whether it's NBA, which is right around the corner, believe it or not. Terrell's going to be doing double duty pretty soon. NFL, MLB, you name it, we've got it here. The discussions are always going on. You can connect with expert handicappers who provide free picks over there for everything, player props, live betting, you name it, we've got it. So you can even track your success there with the experts. So go to the Betting Pros Discord today. Again, bettingpros.com/chat. All right, let's get to the next game here. Let's talk about the Broncos. This is a smash for me. This is one of those, there's 2 bounce back games for me this week. One is Detroit bouncing back at home against the Ben Johnson Bears, who are just riddled with injuries on defense. And this is the other one, where I don't think the Broncos really prepared properly for the Tennessee Titans. They came out a little flat. They made some mistakes early, and luckily the Titans are bad enough where it didn't matter. So I'm pretty sure Sean Payton's got everybody throwing up in a trash can right now because they're running so hard and practicing so hard because it was not great. It was not a good look for the Broncos to have high expectations this year. And I think they will be much more ready for Daniel Jones and the Colts. Terrell Furman Jr., do you agree with me?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to throw us off right now real quick. But as a football coach, Joe, you made me think about the running that he probably had him doing. Did you see Fran Brown after the game having his Syracuse team doing sprints on the field because of the effort? And that was a win. That was after a win. The Syracuse head coach had them doing sprints in front of their families. And Joe, would you have the kids doing sprints after a win if you wasn't happy with their performance?
No, I would not do that as a football coach. We have tournament games on Sunday, actually, so I'm going to miss some of the 1 o'clock games there. But I should be back by the 4 o'clock-ish hour to catch these. So.
Terrell, did they cover the spread at least? They just won?
No, they didn't cover the spread.
Okay,
they technically did. They technically did.
You're not covering, you're sprinting, baby.
It depends where you got the line. It was UConn, and it opened up at the opening line opened up big. The closing line didn't get there, so right, it depends. So
I think the sprints are warranted then.
All right.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Fair. Let's get back to the Broncos, though. Terrell, come on. Like, as soon as I saw this, we talked about this on the opening line show. I smashed this as soon as I saw it. Please tell me you did too.
Yeah, I'm on Broncos laying 1.5 here. I believe that it is the hugest overreaction to what Daniel Jones did in that game. And so I decided to push the Broncos down a little bit further as I fade Daniel Jones, but I was definitely going to make them a bet here today. The Colts only pressured Tua 5 times in that game. You're not going to be able to do that with that Broncos offensive line. You're going to have to find other ways to be able to get to Bo Nix and get to the quarterback. Because if you give Bo Nix too much time, he's going to carve you up. Yes, they started off slow. It was the first game of the season. They were working out the kinks. I think they're going to be over-prepared going on the road here. Broncos offensive line, one of the best in the NFL. Then you got the Broncos who blitz at the third highest rate in the NFL. And that's important because if you know Daniel Jones, like I know Daniel Jones, then you know that Daniel Jones struggles when you bring extra pass rushers. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to make the checks and to make sure that his blocking is right. He doesn't know what option to even go to with the football. Sometimes he holds onto the ball and takes a sack. So this blitz-happy defense going up against Daniel Jones just seems like the perfect recipe for disaster, and I'm all over the Broncos getting it done.
Look, if Daniel Jones puts up another stellar performance this time against the Broncos, then I'll be impressed. I'm just not writing that Sunday night recap that way. It's just not how it's playing out in my head. Again, I've seen too much Daniel Jones, just like Terrell has seen, but I've also seen enough Sean Payton teams, and I think this is easy. I think the Broncos, again, Erickson, they just didn't, I don't think, week one out of the gate, take the Titans seriously enough. And they should have, because the Titans are out there with a new quarterback and a new lease on life, and they're looking to prove something. And that's always dangerous. It was a letdown game in week one, which is not something you see very often. But to me, that's exactly what it was. And that's all that it was.
Yeah, I think that on paper that this should not be a 1.5 point spread. I mean, the look ahead lines with this was 3.5 points. And what really happened. So we saw the Miami Dolphins be horrible, which we already kind of knew was a possibility. Obviously, the Broncos disappointed, but were sloppy. And to your point, I just think that they're going to get these things fixed. Again, it was formational things, it was penalties, and they still almost covered. And they covered for some people that got 7.5. Not me, of course, because I went 1-4 last week, but they still end up covering if you end up getting the line at that 7.5. So again, Bo Nix still has been very strong as a favorite. Again, now his record, not perfect anymore, but still 8-1 against the spread as a favorite. And I think that the fact that the Broncos are still favored matters a lot, because something with the Colts, and this is what with Shane Steichen, he owns the second best record against the spread as a favorite, 64%. The only guy that's been better is Dan Campbell. But when as an underdog, the Colts are 6-15 straight up since 2023. So when the market is telling you that they're underdogs, even though a lot of these games are close, even last week, they were still favored to beat the Miami Dolphins, end up coming through. I think that you have to fade the Colts as underdogs, take the Broncos in this bounce back spot.
All right, we've got one more game to get to, then the upset special and a nice little parlay of the week. Let's start with Terrell's pick here. You're on the Chargers here. Monday Night Football, the late night game too, on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. So Chargers looked really good out of the gate. Terrell, you think they can roll that over for 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, I do. And I really struggled with this. I played around with the Chargers. I kind of wanted to bet the over as well because I saw a lot of things I like from Geno. Geno threw for 360 last week. 360. And unfortunately, it was just a couple of bad throws. It's kind of what you get with Geno. A couple of bad throws turned into an interception. And, the momentum is going the Pats' way, but the Pats are just unable to capitalize over it. And, oh, man, this Justin Herbert team looked locked and loaded on offense, ready to go. Like, they were aggressive. They were pushing the ball. Herbert looked confident, comfortable, all of that. And this is early season Justin Herbert where he thrives. And so I really, really debated going back and forth. And I thought about just taking the points and saying that, man, I think this Raiders offense can account for 20-something points in the game. But I just think that maybe there's some upgrade from the defense of Jim Harbaugh opposed to what they did with the Kansas City Chiefs in week one. But that Chargers offense looks like it's fire and ready to go. So I think the Chargers are actually just going to go ahead and get this done. They're going to cover. I think they win by 7 here. It's a close divisional game, but they win by a touchdown. I like the Chargers cover 3.5.
Okay. All right. Let's get to you here, Andrew Erickson, with your final bet of the week that is your favorite. And let's chat a little bit about what I was talking about, that Detroit Lions Chicago Bears game. Look, to me, you get Jared Goff back at home, another team that had a lackluster first week. Jared Goff indoors is a different guy. He's an indoor cat. I've told you that for years now. But on top of that, even though I do think the Lions are going to struggle the rest of the year, I think this is a quote-unquote get-right game for them against the Bears. But you have a different angle, Erickson. Walk us through.
Well, where's this game being played? Ford Field.
Detroit.
Yes, Detroit.
Where Colorado Rock.
Where unders The Coors Field of the NFL, where unders go to die. You know why there was no overs last week? Because there was no game at Ford Field, right? Like, that's why we didn't see any overs, or not very many.
Well, there was one over in a stupid Jets, stupid Steelers game.
No, we had the Jets game, the Bills game.
That was the over.
It
crushed me.
The Bears-Vikings game also went over
Brutal.
with J.J. McCarthy's miraculous comeback in the fourth quarter, which I know both of you were very in tune watching because of the debate we had last week. So,
very in tune.
But yeah, I'm just going back to playing the hits here. Again, I agree with all the points you made about the Lions offense bouncing back here. This has historically been, ever in the Dan Campbell era, this team has been significantly better playing at home. 5 of the Lions' last 6 games as favorites have gone over the total. Again, they were not favored to beat the Packers on the road last week. They were expected to lose, and that's exactly what happened. So I think playing the Bears defense that is severely banged up, honestly coming off a really bad loss where they kind of broke in the fourth quarter on a short week, I have no issues believing that the Lions are going to score at least 30-plus points against the Chicago Bears. And then on the Bears side, I think that Ben Johnson's intel on the defensive personnel for Detroit, do I expect the Bears to win? No. But do I expect them to go down throwing the ball a ton and scoring points on their end? Yes. So I think that 46.5 points is just too low of a number for a game being played at Ford Field when the Lions defense has not shown that, they're back to the beginning of last year. I think it's still dealing through a lot of the injuries. Hutchinson is still trying to get back to his pre-injury form. Average total Lions last 29 home games, 55.7 points. 73% of the games have scored at least 51 total points. Right now at 46.5 is where the best line I'm seeing on the BettingPros consensus is an easy over smash for me.
Okay, there you have it, everybody. That's everybody's favorite bets for the week. And of course, I'm going to give you the upset special. 0 for 1 last week. Sorry, I got close. Terrell was just getting real nervous. He was biting his nails at the end watching that last Seattle
you never get nervous when Sam Darnold gets the ball.
No, you weren't nervous. He was in the red zone there with a minute left to go. Oh, well. I got close. Could have pulled it off. We'll see. But this week, I think we're going to pull it off. And I'm looking to my old friend, Baker Mayfield. Yes, Baker Mayfield on the road all day. Yeah, the Houston Texans defense is very good. Houston Texans offensive line is not great. And I think the Tampa Bay offense is pretty good. And I think they were in a very heated game last week against the Atlanta Falcons. And now, look, they're traveling again 2 weeks in a row on the road. That's tough. Little road warrior action. But I think Tampa is ready for that, especially underdog Baker Mayfield. Ooh, wait. Do I love Tampa Bay Mayfield underdog all the time? So give me Tampa Bay on the money line against Houston, plus 130. That's my upset special of the week. And on top of that, I'm going to give you the parlay of the week as well, which is give me those Detroit Lions at minus 5.5. You could also take the over if you prefer and do it that way. You could do that. Then give me the bounce back Broncos. So this is the bounce back season right now. This is what we're in, and it's bounce back time for 2 teams. I'm going to parlay them together with the other thing that I'm very confident in, which is the Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat the Chiefs again. The Chiefs are down players. I know the Chiefs have a little bit more respect for themselves. I know it was embarrassing. I'm sure they're going to show up a little bit more. I just don't think they can beat the Eagles. I think the Eagles are on a different level and certainly healthier as well. So give me the Eagles on the money line. Give me the Broncos with the 2.5, the Lions with the 2.5. And all of a sudden we get to 6-1 on that bad boy. So that is my favorite parlay of the week. Don't forget to watch the guys' favorite parlays as well here on the channel. You can find that video on our YouTube channel. Also, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Make sure you go place your bets over at Hard Rock Bet. And that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Terrell, Furman Jr., and The Undertaker, Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.